Violence in medicine and the perceived loss of neutrality. What do they have in common? I'm Teitsort. We're going to discuss that today on this episode of Chronicles of a Culture Changer. The monster we've created comes from loss of neutrality. It's a big part of it. And what we mean by that is we're being aligned with law enforcement and the custody/control that goes on there. Here's what I mean. Take any opportunity where the police are dealing with an intoxicated or drugged individual. EMS is for some reason called, whether it's the person was passed out, whether the person has fallen, whether they're involved in a car crash, whatever it may be. But for whatever reason, EMS and law enforcement are now dealing with this person. While on the stretcher or doing whatever, the person decides to get a little bit silly, so the police officer begins to use some form of force on the one side, and we'll say it's a pain compliance type of joint manipulation. On the opposite side, the crew member now begins to feel compelled to help the officer, so they reach down and mimic exactly what they see on the opposite side of this person. So here's where it all starts to jumble together. The intoxicated or drugged person now looks at the police officer doing this on one side, and then looks over the paramedic or EMT doing the exact same thing on the other side, and then goes, oh, they must be on the same page. The police officer then looks at the paramedic doing the exact same thing the police officer is doing and goes, oh, they must be trained like us. Any bystanders that are watching this go on now then go, oh, those guys that show up in that big white box are the same as those people that show up in the police car. They all must be the same because they're doing the exact same thing. Please understand what I'm saying. At no point am I saying that we're not supposed to love or support or be family with law enforcement. That's not it at all. What I'm trying to share with you is the perceived loss of neutrality. We have lost the perception of being neutral. The police have lost the perception of us being neutral. And by God, the public is beginning to lose, and much of it has already, losing the sight and the fact that we're supposed to be neutral. They no longer perceive us as neutral. They think we are an extension of law enforcement. This is a very, very, very dangerous, slippery slope we find ourselves on right now. It has to do with we're acting like the police without the authority of the police, and there's different things that are going on, and it all boils back to this lost perceived neutrality. And I can assure you, if you want to make it better for the generation that follows us into EMS or emergency nursing or the rescue side of fire, the only way we're going to make it better is get back to being perceived as neutral. Guys, I'm Teitsort. Thanks for watching this episode of Chronicles of a Culture Changer. If you believe in our message, please tell people we exist, share this around. We'll see you soon.